So who do you have in your circle that's holding you back? Who do you have in your circle that's thinking average instead of thinking above average? These people you got to cut off. You got to cut off because we're not average anymore. We're not average people. We don't have average goals. We don't have average aspirations. So we can't have average friends. Hello, welcome back to Unknown and Talented. My name is Jelan Abrams, and this is a very special episode because this is actually my 32nd episode, and I just turned 32. I know. Yes, I look young. I am 32. I got the gray hairs to prove it. But right now I'm on vacation in a undisclosed location. Nobody knows where I'm at. I'm just out here chilling and recording as much stuff as I can. So, I'm definitely enjoying myself. And actually today we're actually recording this. And this is going out today. Yes. So, I'm kind of behind, but we got to make it work. But for this episode, what I want to talk about, I want to just talk about like the growth that I've seen from, starting this podcast till now. I just really learned the importance of having a circle. So I didn't want to make this episode an episode about, what I've learned through my 32 years of being on Earth. Because, everybody goes through different experiences, but I just want to really show the importance of having a circle. And I didn't really realize that until I started this podcast. So for me, my circle is made up of family and friends from high school, college, sometimes even work. So those are like my base of all my friendships that I've had. I've never really went outside of my circle to find, new people. I was a music producer, as y'all know, so I was able to build, relationships with people that way. So they liked my beats. So that's how I was able to connect. And I also work out and post it on my Instagram. So people that are interested in working out, they saw me and then they try to connect. But I was never intentional to find people that were doing what I'm doing and making them join my circle. It was just always people finding me. I've never said, yo, this person is really cool. I want to make sure I connect with them, so I can learn from them, or have people in my circle that were better than me. Because a lot of times my circle are full with, friends. They're definitely better than me at different areas, but not areas that I was trying to go after. For example, now I have a podcast. So before actually creating this podcast, the only people that I knew that had podcasts were my two friends, Justin and Tony, that were learning how to do it as well. I never went out of my way to find people that were actually doing this podcast stuff seriously to learn from them. I have this camera. I've never really looked outside my box to find, people that are really great in cameras. My uncle is fantastic at cameras, but I've never triing to pick his brain to learn as much as I can. Plus, family is easy to have in your circle, but I just never really done that. But I didn't realize the importance of doing that until having this podcast. So as y'all know, this podcast is about entrepreneurs, content creators, helping them stop the procrastination, stop, delaying their success and actually going after it. So what I try to do is make sure I get entrepreneurs, content creators that are actually doing it. So it doesn't matter what level they are. They could be just starting out or super advanced, but I just want them to be able to tell their story because they actually started, which a lot of people don't want to do. It's scared for them to actually start. They have the idea, but they never actually put it in action. So I don't want to bring anybody in my podcast that has it, put it in action. I want to make sure they've at least done that. So the more and more I did this podcast, I'm trying to find guests. When I first started, it was easy to find people in my circle that I already knew to get on my podcast. Now until episode 13, shout out to Kiera Sophia, I randomly reached out to her. I saw she had a short film coming out soon. I contacted her, got her on my podcast, and that was the first time I actually had an episode where someone that I didn't know at all, I had to interview them. So I'm on Instagram, scrolling on Instagram, trying to find out every little detail I can find, questions to ask, doing research on what an actual, she's an actor, what an actor does, what a director does, pretty much trying to find as much stuff about her and her field so I'll be able to ask her questions because like I said, I don't know her at all. I know her now, but at that point, I didn't know her at all. So I was actually getting out of my box, trying something new because I know this podcast is going to have to be more than people that I actually know. So I made sure to do all that research. And at that time, I wasn't such a big fan of my questions of how I did that, but that ended up being one of my top listens episodes at that time. So me coming out of my box showed me that even though I don't think that was great, I probably could have done better, but I came out of my box. I tried something different. And that changed my entire podcast, that one episode. Because now I said, okay, if I can get someone that I don't know on my podcast and them to actually enjoy the experience and share with all their friends, I could find people I don't know all over the world. So that was a big moment in my life. Like, yo, okay, now I can actually, grow this podcast. So after that, having that connection with Kiera, I went to a few different events. So I went to an event in New York where they were shooting a live podcast. And now I'm intentionally trying to find people that are going after what I'm going after. Now I have a room full of people that are thinking about starting a podcast. Their mindset is on entrepreneurship. They're content creators. And now I have people that are doing the same thing that I'm doing. But it doesn't have to be, they're not all better than me. They're not all worse than me, but I have them at different levels. So now I can learn from these people. Yeah, I can pick their brain. They're going to be doing the same things or finding the same activities because now their mindset is in the same, in the same thing. We're thinking the same thing. We have the same goals. And one thing you have to realize is that people are not your competition. There's enough to go around. There are people that are millionaires and that are friends. There are billionaires that are friends. They're not just trying to take it all for themselves because you can't do it by yourself. It's impossible for you to be able to do everything by yourself. You're going to need a team. So why not create your team by finding people that are like-minded? And that's what I'm doing right now. Each person that I have on my podcast, I might not say, hey, let's team up and be a team and do everything together. No, it's going to happen organically. But what I have to do is continue to be intentional about who I get on my podcast, make sure I do good enough research on them to say, are they going to be able to give good information to my audience? And also, am I going to be able to click with them? What I realize is that most of my episodes that I enjoy the most, that are actually the better episodes, are people that are more like-minded like me, that are closer to who I am as a person. And that's gonna be where I'm able to find that circle, to find those business partners that when it's time to start a new business, to pivot somewhere else, I have people that are thinking the same way. And now, we're millionaires together. Like I said, it's not a competition. You're not in competition with anybody, to be honest with you. You're in competition with yourself. You're in competition with the person you were yesterday. So don't worry about looking at other people as competition because they're not. There's enough money in the world, enough people in the world just to not have to look at people as your competition. Even people that are into sports. LeBron is cool with Steph, and they're technically competition on the court. So like I said, it's enough to go around. You don't have to be looking at people as your competition and trying not to share information with people because, you share information with somebody else, they share information with you. Now y'all building together. Definitely don't look at it as, they're my competition. I ain't telling them nothing. Because you can learn from everybody, and the more you share with someone else, they're going to definitely be open to share with you as well. But on the other hand of things, don't be afraid to say no. Like I said, your circle is extremely important, which I'm realizing you can't hang out with everybody like you used to. Because now you have to be intentional about who you're letting in your circle. If you're letting people that don't have like mind as you could be in trouble. You have people that are going to be, yes man, anything that you say, they're saying a yes to. You have people in your circle that are negative, that, you have an idea of doing something. They say, I don't know if that's such a good idea. You have to get them out of your circle. And it's okay. You have to cut people off as well. It's fine. You have to think about, what do you prefer? You prefer to have this person in your circle, or do you prefer to reach that goal, that dream that you've been thinking about? That's what you got to think about. Those are your two decisions. Your two decisions are this person that's your best friend forever, but that's a negative Nancy. Keep them in your life or strive after this goal. Because you can't have both. Like I said, you're the sum of the five of your friends. So your best friends, the people that you're around the most, if they're all five negative, you're going to be a negative person. And it's going to be hard for you to reach where you want to because they're going to be super negative. So, keep them in your life if you want, or get rid of them. Find new people to be able to go after your goals. It sounds harsh, but it is what it is. I remember when I was younger, I was in middle school. Let's say I was like in 6th grade. At that point, I'm a genius. I'm getting straight A's all the time. I remember I got all A's and 1 B, and I was so upset. I was just like, this is ridiculous. How did I get a B? To the point where after school, I went to the teacher and said, what did I do? I thought I did everything right. I got good grades. I should have got an A in the class. I forgot what she told me at that time, but I was just so upset. And then I was telling all my friends, I was like, man, I'm so upset, man. I got a B. Like everybody's telling me what they got. They're getting, C's, D's, or whatever. At least they passed. And I'm complaining about having that B. And everybody's like, why are you complaining about having a B? That's good. Yo, you're good, man. Nah, man, don't worry about that. You're good. At that time, at that age, I didn't realize what they were doing. Their mindset is not all A's. Their mindset is, if I get a C, I'm good. So me coming out with the mindset of getting all A's to get straight A's all the time because I know I'm smart, the circle that I had around me wasn't a circle that's thinking on that level. They're thinking of, if I get a C, if I get a D, I'm good as long as I didn't get an F. And then me coming out here with the mindset of straight A's, you're fine, bro. Like, why you worried about that? But in that moment, I didn't realize what that did to me. Now, my mindset is shifted from, you want to make sure every time you go in this classroom, you get straight A's to now, oh, I get a B. B's are fine. Oh, I get a C. C's are fine. Now your mind is shifted. Now your mind is shifted from being that A student to now you're a C student because of the people you have around you. If all my friends were straight A students and then I told them, man, I got a B, they're like, what? A B? That's crazy. And like the conversation is different. So that's the same way with life now. We might not be looking at it as A's, B's, C's, and D's, but there's different metrics that we have. You want to be at the $100,000 mark on earnings. Somebody that's at the $1 million mark is like, you only make it 100,000. That's it. You talk to somebody with 50,000. Oh, 100,000, man, you good. You set for life. It's all about perspective. So you want to make sure you have people in your circle that's perspective is up here, not down here, because you're holding yourself back. You're holding yourself back with those C students, hanging out with them. You're never going to be back in that level with all A's. And I think, honestly, then I think about it now, I think that was the last year that I legit got all A's. Just because of that. The last year, I think I got all A's in middle school. I probably got it once or twice, but I wasn't that strict on myself to say, yo, I'm getting all A's. I think about now, that's crazy. And that's kind of scary to think about. So who do you have in your circle that's holding you back? Who do you have in your circle that's thinking average instead of thinking above average? These people you got to cut off. You got to cut off because we're not average anymore. We're not average people. We don't have average goal. We don't have average aspirations. So we can't have average friends. So make a list. Make a list. Each time you have a conversation with somebody, write down some stuff they're saying. Somebody said something negative, that was negative. But honestly, you have to really think about that. You really have to look at the people you have around you and realize, are they helping me progress or are they holding me back? Because if the answer is they're holding you back, you have to let them go. The only way to get to the next level is to be around people that have aspirations to get to the next level or already are at that next level. The people that are thinking about they're cool, they're happy where they're at, you have to get rid of them because you're going to stay there right with them. And if that's what you want to do, that's perfectly fine. You should have turned this episode off a long time ago when I first started it. That's where your mindset is at. But if you continue listening, that means you want to get better. You want to make sure that circle is tight. Try a new circle. Or if you already have that good circle, good job to you. But I know a lot of us don't have that circle. So you have to make sure you work to build that circle of people that you can get to that next level. But moving forward for me, I'm going to continue doing this podcast. I'm going to continue connecting with like-minded individuals. But what I've learned is that, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to jump. I've been talking to so many entrepreneurs that have just started. They got an idea to start a clothing brand and they got to it the next day. They got an idea to move from Sacramento to Atlanta and they did it. They didn't procrastinate on it and they're succeeding because of it. The longer you take to get something started, to get that thing rolling, it'll take you longer and longer to be successful at it. Because if you take 5 months to start, you could have started today and that 5 months you would have been successful. Or 3 months you would have been successful. So don't delay that start. Just start it. Nothing beats experience. So you can read all the books, you can do all the research, you can ask all the advice, but nothing beats you just getting over there, rolling your sleeves up and getting to work. Because no matter how good you are at something bad is bound to happen. You can't avoid it. Something's bad bound to happen. So just do it. And when something's bad happens, you learn from it and change it up and do it again. That's the definition of being wise. Being wise is having experience, being able to go through something that happened that was bad and able to, be better because of it. I was recently, I'm not sure if you listened to the last episode, but when I was recently at InvestFest, I had a full interview that I recorded. I didn't get none of the audio. I went to a guy named David Shands. He's the king of podcasting. I told him about the situation. He was just like, yo, it happens. Do it again. Because he's wise. He's done this before. Me looking at it like, man, I suck. I can't believe this happened. Yo, he said he did it before. I had another interview with someone else. His name is Brendan Boyd, podcaster as well. He said, yo, that happened to me too. He recorded a whole episode about an hour long. He asked the guy, yo, did he press record? Yo, did you press record? And they never recorded it. And they don't have the audio from it. You know what I'm saying? So it happens. But the only way you know to avoid that is for something like that to happen to you. Nobody's going to tell you when you're doing your research that, yo, sometimes you record and you might not get the audio. That's something you have to experience. And just think about whatever you want to do, whatever you want to start a nonprofit, you want to start, a regular business, you want to sell products, you want to you do a service. Something's bad going to happen, but nobody's going to tell you from the get-go, oh, this is going to happen when you're 2 months in. You got to just roll your sleeves up and do it. But in conclusion, your circle is extremely important. I mean, the mindset that I have now in just this 6 months of doing this podcast is way different from where it was before. By just talking to different people, thinking differently, my mind is way different. Like I still have, the circle of my family, my friends, my work friends, but now I'm expanding it into people that are actually like-minded. And now, this podcast is going to be crazy in a minute. Like y'all don't understand. Like right now, like you think like, oh, humble beginnings and, this and that, amateur hour, me recording and, it being blurry or not getting audio or the audio bad. All these things is going to be for the story. But I mean, I don't even know. I'm just talking right now, but this podcast is going to be huge. And it's all because of the people that I have around me and, my support group before then. You definitely have, I made sure my friends and family that I was communicating with are very supportive. So they're very supportive. So you're having that support group and then also having that circle of people that are thinking that next level, you're bound to be successful. So hopefully you find that circle, be very intentional with finding, those right people, those right individuals that's going to push you to the next level. And that's the end of the episode. Like I said, 32, my birthday. I'm super hyped. Turn up, turn up, turn up. But I can go edit this thing and then I'm chilling. I'm chilling for the rest of the time. Like I said, I'm in an undisclosed location. Nobody knows where I'm at but my girlfriend. But yeah, other than that, we out of here. So again, my name is Jelan Abrams, unknown and talented. We'll see you next week.